And millions of Americans are one step closer to homelessness as the federal eviction moratorium expires this weekend. Also, some minor league baseball teams are on the verge of bankruptcy. Why the U.S. Senate may be able to help.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
2 years after a woman's body is discovered in a suitcase dumped along a southwest Missouri road, the man accused of kidnapping her children is tracked down and arrested in Central America. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, the suspect in a southwest Missouri kidnapping is arrested in Guatemala. Mohammed is a Somali national charged with the kidnapping of the 4-year-old daughter of Jessica McCormick of Knoll. Authorities discovered McCormick's body in a suitcase in July of 2019 between Lanigan and Knoll. After identifying Jessica, officials say they could not find her 3 children. An informant told them Mohammed had taken the kids to Iowa, where he left them with a former co-worker. All 3 children were found safe. The father of the 4-year-old child told police Mohammed did not have permission to take the kids. Mohammed was indicted on a kidnapping charge in August of 2019 and recently arrested in Guatemala, expelled from that country, and returned to the United States. No arrests have been made in McCormick's death. 150 years ago, the city of Joplin was still a dream. On July 28, 1871, John C. Cox, one of the city's founders, filed a plat for a piece of land that he named Joplin City. Lots immediately became available, and Joplin's first home was built on the northwest corner of Cox and Central. That property on Wednesday served as the site of a celebration for the city's anniversary. 2 years later, Joplin merged with Murfreesburg and became permanently incorporated with the state of Missouri. Yesterday's event is just one of many leading up to the city's sesquicentennial in 2023. Well, we don't have to say it twice. It's hot outside. Let's go to Michael with the first look at the forecast.
7 consecutive days, and we've been able to ride 90. Tanya, I know that people have different schedules and everything, but you and I are here every day. Do you remember when we were talking about the average temperature of June being hotter than the average temperature of July?
Yes.
And then the heat wave started. And
have we breached that average temperature?
No. July's now blown it out of the water. Our average temperature for July, high, low, added together, divided by 2, 87.8.
I think you were just trying to keep us thinking positively as we were entering the heat wave.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we've cruised past it now. 87 was the average in June, 87.8, and we've still got 3 more days of this brutally hot weather to go. Here's where we stand right now at the noon hour, already creeping up around 92 to 93 degrees. Chanute clocking in at 93, a whole bunch of 92s, including Carthage and Joplin as well. And then Miami will throw you and Anderson in there at 89. You know, one thing I have thought about during the afternoons, it would be really nice if instead of this 5 to 10 mile per hour wind, even if it came in from the south, it'd give us just a little relief if the wind would pick up a little bit, but it doesn't. It's just been so still outside, and it'll kind of stay that way for the rest of the afternoon, and that's why we've got a couple more counties added to our excessive heat warning. So feeling about like a 105 to 107 this afternoon. Contiguous 48, relatively quiet. We'll break down what's going on there in the Ohio River Valley and the Gulf Coast here in just a little bit, but the main thing for the time being, whole lot of water, whole lot of sunscreen. But here's the nice thing, Tanya. 3 more days. 3 more days. It's like checking off the calendar for July. When you get to that last day of July, we'll be able to flip it open, look at August, and know we're going to be in the 80s after that.
That's right. We can do this. All right. Thanks, Michael. Millions of Americans could be at risk of eviction in just 2 days when federal protections created during the pandemic are set to expire. Congress allocated more than $46 billion to help Americans affected by the pandemic pay their rent. But as Janet Shamilian reports, just a fraction of the money has reached those who need it most.
The Bumpus family may be on a ramp to homelessness.
Go on, sit.
Jeremy says he was laid off in January and hasn't paid rent in 5 months. When the moratorium ends Saturday, he's worried his family will be evicted.
I'm from California, so I'm not from here, so I don't really have no backup plan or no plan B. I don't have family and friends.
As many as 15 million people are in the same situation as the Bumpuses, at risk of losing their homes while they wait for federal rent relief.
The bad news is that the money is getting out very slowly.
Getting the money quickly.
This week, Diane Yentl of the National Low-Income Housing Coalition offered Congress a startling fact.
In some places, it's not getting out at all, and it will not reach all the renters who need it to stay stably housed in time.
Nearly half the states in the country have used less than 5% of their federal relief money. As of June, Florida, South Carolina, and New York had given out less than 1%. John Boriak owns these lower-income apartments in Houston and heads up an association of area property owners. He believes the moratorium should not be extended, saying it's taken an especially hard hit on so-called mom-and-pop owners with only a handful of properties.
This is their livelihood, and so when those rents go unpaid, the mortgage is still due and the utility bills are still due.
Advocates say rent relief programs are working, but require patience.
These programs are successful, it just takes a little bit of time.
There are signs of improvement with the rental relief program. In June, states gave out more money than the previous 5 months combined. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Las Vegas.
Now, according to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, about 6.5 million households were behind on rent earlier this month. And around half of those families and individuals worry they could be evicted in the next 2 months. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, the U.S. Senate jumps in to bail out minor league baseball teams that are on the verge of bankruptcy. And later, we're making a steakhouse salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. As concert venues and sports teams fight to bounce back from the pandemic, minor league baseball is in a league of its own. Games were canceled last year, and this season started with restrictions on how many people can sit in the stands. Despite that, teams are striking out when it comes to getting help, and some are on the verge of bankruptcy. As Chris Van Cleve shows us, help may be on the way from the U.S. Senate.
The next pitch is lined into left field.
The Rocket City Trash Pandas are hotter than the Madison, Alabama summer.
Well, we love sitting on the grass and letting the kids run around and play. They can catch a ball, possibly.
The Trash Pandas should have been a 2020 sensation, but then the pandemic happened.
What does losing your inaugural season cost a franchise?
Millions of dollars, probably close to $17 million.
The 2020 season was canceled just weeks before the first pitch, and this season saw the first 20 games axed, leaving the Trash Pandas trying to save the club from the financial dumpster before ever taking the field.
It was either shut the doors and close down and lay people off, or come up with other creative ways to bring people here to the ballpark, use the facility, and do non-baseball events and really push our merchandise.
They sold $2.5 million worth of Trash Panda gear and hosted events like outdoor summer camp, socially distanced movie nights, and drive-through Christmas lights. It was enough to keep their 30-person staff employed and the lights on.
But here in Chattanooga, the Lookouts didn't have that kind of flexibility. In fact, they went more than 600 days without fans in these stands. Are you still in survival mode?
In a lot of ways, yes. We dug a huge hole in 2020. And with 21, I'd like to think that we were going to fill it back in, but the truth is, even this year, we're still digging just a little bit slower.
Help for the nation's pastime could be coming from an unlikely team, political polar opposites, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal and Republican Marsha Blackburn.
How often do you two find yourself on the same side of an issue?
I would say we vote together probably rarely.
But on baseball, they agree. The two are co-sponsoring legislation to use $550 million in unspent COVID relief funds to help eligible minor league teams that were shut out of earlier grants for live event venues.
These are days they don't get back. They are drivers for jobs, for tourism. This is very much a part of your local economic system in these communities.
The 120 minor league teams pay about $50 million in local taxes annually and raise another $50 million for local charities. Prior to the pandemic, they employed nearly 35,000 full and part-time employees. Even as fans filled into superhero night at AT&T Field, the Chattanooga Lookouts' future is on the mind of ticket scanner Dan Mummert.
There'd be a lot of us that would be without jobs, and I think that's important to the community.
is to employ people of the community, and that's what the Lookouts do.
Assuming there are no other issues from something like the Delta variant, the Lookouts owner tells us without assistance, it could take his club up to a decade to dig out of these financial losses. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Bowie, Maryland.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Are you not eating enough greens, but not willing to give up your love of steak? No worries. We have a solution, and we're willing to stake our reputation on it.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Well, Mother Nature decided she wasn't going to let us down here with the last week of July, because we are now at 7 consecutive days where we've been 90+ degrees. And what that has done is, just in the past 7 days alone, it's raised our entire July average up 1 degree to 88.7. That's right. It only took 7 days for us to raise 1 degree in the previous 29 days. I know it sounds a little bit confusing there on the surface, but think about that. You really got to heat up. You got to heat up fast to have 7 days make up for the previous 24, 25 days. Skywatch Storm Tracker in our daily almanac. Luckily, that 2012 record of 109, that will not be challenged. That's, I guess, our one welcome here. And I'll tell you what, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there at 7th and Rangeline, because it is a hopping. It's a busy intersection right now. With the air conditioners that are blasting, as it is 92 degrees, feeling like 104. And that humidity just seemingly not going anywhere. Cloud cover not as thick as what we've had the past couple of days, but at the same point in time, that doesn't do anything for us as far as slowing us down on the temperatures, nor on our old heat index. Throw it up. Oh, Tanya, we came three short. Mount Vernon, Cassville, and Bentonville. They're still hanging on to the 90s. Well, Iowa too. Everybody else now. It's triple digits. It's going to be in between, say, 105, 107 this afternoon as far as what it feels like. We've had just a couple additional counties added to our excessive heat warning. Not a whole lot of change here, but one thing that I do want to point out is, you're like, why is it getting hotter seemingly every day? Well, remember a couple days ago, up here, they had the heat advisories, and we didn't have any excessive heat warnings. Now the heat is just not only sinking down to the south, but also pushing off to the east. You'd think that everybody on the Gulf Coast, humidity, heat, they'd be used to this. No, they've got their own advisories and heat warnings as well. So it truly is the central and southeastern portion of the United States. There's your cutoff line running right through Nebraska and Iowa. Much cooler up here than what they've had the past couple of days compared to what we're all having as we swoop down just on the south side of the jet stream. Speaking of the jet stream, if you were to ride that, that's our best chance for some severe weather today up by the Great Lakes, running all the way really from northern Missouri to the Atlantic coast. But for the 4 states, we will stay out of the fray. We'll just have to find a way to keep comfortable. I don't think keeping cool is even a choice right now. And then we're going to have to lock and reload for Friday and Saturday as well. Now, at the top of your screen, we talked about a little thunderstorm activity there coming out of northern Missouri. If it sags far enough for tonight, our far northeastern counties may get just a raindrop or two, but it's certainly breaking up before it gets there. We're just really, for the most part, going to be on the dry and hot side here for the next 2 days. Even with those pop-ups that we see, those want to stay east of the Ozarks. And this will give you an idea of that system I was talking about as it pushes through. See a whole bunch pop up right there? But just diagonally, it doesn't do a whole lot for us. But one thing I do want to point out, look at Nebraska and Iowa. See how those temperatures are a whole lot cooler? So that front is hanging up there to our north. And what will happen is eventually, come Saturday night, it is going to be able to penetrate through the heat dome. And once it does, we're going to have thunderstorm activity Saturday evening, Saturday night. But by the time we wake up on Sunday and we get to the afternoon, we're going to be able to be in the mid-80s for the next week.
Oh, that'll be nice. I cannot wait until we
It's
get
like
to that
this
point.
front is hanging right there, and it every day, it just keeps pressing, and it won't move. Won't move.
We'll get
won't
there.
move. Finally, this weekend, it's going to be like, I've had enough. I'm coming in.
Yes, we're going to love it. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Purple Heart recipient Bill Buzzard in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Goodman, Missouri, joined the 13th Division in 1942. During his service until 1944, the Army private earned 2 Purple Hearts and the Distinguished Service Cross. To Private First Class Bill Buzzard, we thank you, our 4-state hero. When it comes to choosing healthier meal options and indulging in something delicious, there's always a happy middle. Howard shows us how to make one that comes with a seal of approval from both veggie and meat lovers. We're making a steakhouse salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
I don't know about you, but for me, no matter how many mixed greens and veggies are in a salad, it's probably not going to satisfy me for dinner. So as a way to eat better without sacrificing any of the taste, we came up with a steakhouse salad that's both veggie and meat lover approved. We start by seasoning a lean strip steak with steak seasoning. We want to be generous with the seasoning since we'll be slicing the steak thinly after it's cooked. This will ensure that every bite has lots of flavor. Now, we cook this either on a grill pan or outside on your grill. You know what? You can even do it in your air fryer. While that cooks, we arrange some mixed greens on a platter, cut a beefsteak tomato into chunks, slice up a red onion, and crumble on some blue cheese. Once the steak is cooked just the way you like it, let it rest before slicing it across the grain. Now, this salad may look simple, but I promise it's nothing short of sensational. Drizzle on some homemade or bottled vinaigrette and dig in. I think this might be my new go-to summertime favorite. To get the recipe for our steakhouse salad, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a beefy salad-loving way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Thank you.
That looks delicious. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
If you're tired of the heat, just take a look at that calendar sitting there in the kitchen, and as we mark off the days of July, we get closer and closer to the heat wave being over. That is because Saturday night will eventually bring us thunderstorm activity, and we'll begin August in the 80s, but up until then, heat advisories and excessive heat warnings will exist.
It'd be nice to see possibilities of rain and temps in the 80s again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, with so many Americans still out of work, many are looking to start a new career. We're going to show you how energy companies in New York are training out-of-work public housing residents for green jobs at no cost. Plus, area ambulance services deal with the high cost volume of COVID patients. We're going to speak with Mercy Ambulance Director about the increase of patients. And Missouri's Humane Society Animal Cruelty Task Force rescues 21 dogs from a McDonald County breeder. Hope you join us, KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dal. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.